Okay, good morning, everyone. Thank you very much for joining us today. We are here as part of our Postgraduate Information Week, and we're going to be looking at a session on funding, scholarships and bursary. My name is Marisha Nelany, and I'll be your host for this 30-minute session today. Before we begin, just a couple of quick housekeeping notes. All your microphones and cameras have been disabled for the duration of this session to ensure a smooth experience for everyone. If you have any questions at any point, please feel free to pop them into the Q&A box, and we'll be answering as many of these as we can at the Q&A, which will follow the presentation. I'd also like to let you know that today's session is being recorded. It will be available on the GCU YouTube page in the coming weeks, so you'll be able to watch this session back or share it with others. Now, I'm very pleased to introduce you to today's presenter. This is Andrea Butler, who will be talking all things budgeting, scholarships and bursaries at GCU. So I'll hand over to you, Andrea.
Good morning, everybody, and thank you very much for joining us here. So today we are going to be talking about student funding and scholarship information. What I'm going to do first is just do a little poll just to find out where you're coming from, and if you're from the UK or if you're international. That will actually help us just to determine how much depth to go into. Okay, so if you just bear with me a second. So if you could put what your fee status is, that would be amazing, and I hope you can all see that okay. I think we may be having I do apologise, we had a bit of an issue there. Just go back. Right, so I can see that we've got applicants potentially from Scotland. So we will just go back just now, and I will carry on with the presentation in just a second. So today we're going to be talking about everything funding and scholarship related. And here at the GCU funding team, we can offer practical guidance with pre-entry funding applications, advice on support available to meet the cost of tuition fees, and we also do the assessment and payment of the discretionary and higher education childcare fund and our own university childcare fund, which is for registered childcare only. We can also provide useful tips on budgeting and money management. And here I give information and guidance on scholarships. So some key information for our home fee paying status students, i.e. students that are living in Scotland, is you can apply to SAS for a postgraduate loan, and this can be done from the 1st of April. If you're on more than a 1-year master's course, for instance, one of our pre-registration courses, you must apply every year of your studies. So the postgraduate loan is for £7,000 and the living cost loan is for £6,900. So total postgraduate funding package would be £13,900, and it is for full-time students over the duration of your course. So for instance, if you're on a 2-year course, that funding package would be split in half. And you would effectively, for instance, receive £3,500 in year 1, £3,500 in year 2, and that would be the same for the living cost loan. For our social work students, the SAS funding package is also being extended to MSc social work students who are not in receipt of the SSSC bursary. Ultimately, first, if you are looking to do MSc in social work, you should go to the Scottish Social Services Council and look and apply for the postgraduate bursary through there. Okay, I have put a QR code here just so that will take you straight to the link. For part-time SAS students, students that can receive money from SAS, the tuition fee loan again is up to £7,000, and that would be split equally across each year of the course. There is no help towards living costs if you are a part-time student. Okay, and if you withdraw, you may not receive the loan to help with the cost of your fees, but the university may still charge for any modules or time that you've been on the course. Now here at GCU, we do have scholarships and discounts, a wide range of them, to help meet the cost of your tuition fees. So for our international students, there is a range of discounts that the admissions team will allocate to your application at the time of applying. For instance, for our Indian and Nigerian nationality students, they can get up to a discount of up to £4,000. We've got regional scholarships for the countries listed here: Bangladesh, Canada, Ghana, Kenya, Indonesia, Malaysia, Nepal, Philippines, Sri Lanka, Thailand, Vietnam, and we've recently added for this year Hong Kong and Singapore. For anybody, any fee paying status student, whether you're home, international, EU or rest of UK, we do have the student loyalty discount if you've studied your previous degree here. Now that would be a generous 30% discount from your tuition fees. Again, we have the scholarships website here you can go into to find the full range. We also have early payment discount. If your fees are over £5,000, you can get a 5% discount if you pay that before the start of teaching, the start of your course entry date, whether this is September or January entry. And for our international students, we have another very competitive award, the Postgraduate Ambassador Scholarship, which potentially would cover a full year's tuition fee if you are successful. For more information, please do visit the Postgraduate Scholarship site on our website. And again, I've popped in a QR code there for you. So if you're a home student and you've studied your undergraduate and you're looking to come back and do postgraduate, you would get the 30% discount. So when you're applying for a SAS postgraduate loan, you must make sure that you only take out the loan amount that you require. Now I'll give you an example on our next slide, because we don't want you to take out a loan that is basically overpaying the university for what is actually required. So for instance, tuition fees are £9,900. That's an example, less the 30% student loyalty discount. This would mean that you would only require the SAS postgraduate tuition fee loan for £6,930. So when you're applying for your SAS loan, that is the amount that you are going to type in effectively and borrow. For our Scottish domiciled students from low income backgrounds, there is also Carnegie Masters Grant, which is an external grant from the Carnegie Education Fund. They potentially will cover up the shortfall between the postgraduate loan and your tuition fees, and it's only for students on one-year courses. Again, a little QR code. There is also study cost stipends available, and this would depend on your household income. Okay, so for more information, please do visit the Carnegie Education Fund website and look for the Masters Grant. So a little bit more funding information. There is a lot of discounts out there for students, so please make sure that you do link up to one of these sites, for instance, My Uni Days or Student Beams, because you can get some really, really good discounts through those sites because you will be studying as a student, okay? There is also websites called Save the Student and Money Saving Expert. They have a variety of articles on money saving help, tips to help tackle the cost of living. Okay, you want to do that especially and shop about for the best deals, because obviously cost of living here at the moment is rather high. It's a lot higher than what we would hope that it would be. So any savings that you can get, please do take advantage of them. So for information, any further questions on scholarships and bursaries, please email in to scholarships@gcu.ac.uk, or you can reach myself by telephone, and you can also find us in the Campus Life Lounge, first floor of the George Moore building. The funding team, comprising of the funding advisors and also any questions about scholarships, we are here all year round. Okay, minus annual leave, but we don't close over the summer or anything, so you can always reach a member of staff if you do have any questions at all. So when you come to university and you start your course, there is, we do have university funds that are provided by the Scottish Government, which is the discretionary and childcare funds. Now, the discretionary fund is for students to apply to once they've started their courses, and this can just help alleviate any financial pressures. So what we would do is we would look at what's coming in to what's going out every month, for your bank, and effectively the funding team, you would make an application to the discretionary fund, and we could help bridge that gap for income and expenditure. It is a one-off payment, so it's not a monthly payment. We would just make you an award, and you can apply trimester A, trimester B, and trimester C. We also help with costs towards childcare costs. We know they are very, very expensive, and it is for registered childcare only. Okay, so the important thing is you look into that as soon as you start teaching, as that's when the funds will be opened. We would say if you do receive any award, please keep some receipts, especially for childcare, because we want to see that the next time that you apply. Again, for any information for funding, you can certainly email any inquiries to funding@gcu.ac.uk. You can also book individual appointments with the funding advisors here, and you can come and find us again at the George Moore building, first floor in the Campus Life Lounge. We do have weekly drop-ins on a Monday, Wednesday and Friday. And on a Tuesday, for anybody that's having difficulties applying to the discretionary fund, we do have a help session as well that is available. For certain courses, you may find that there isn't a lot of funds on either via SAS or via the GCU scholarships. There is an alternative guide to postgraduate funding, which is an external source that the university subscribe to. You can look there for trusts and charities and different grants if you're looking to help towards the cost of your tuition fees for any courses. You can take a note of this email address and also the PIN number so that you do not have to pay for getting onto the site. Okay, that's GCU have subscribed and paid so that our students that are looking to come and study can access all funds and all funding searches. So that brings us to the end of our slides today, and if you do have any questions, we're going to have a little look at the chat session just to see if there is any questions.
Thanks so much, Andrea. That was a great presentation. Lots of information in there for everyone. So I can see there's a couple of questions that are coming into the chat box there. So Andrea, I'll let you answer them. If anyone else has any, feel free to type them in just now, and we'll spend a bit of time going through them. So Andrea, over to you.
Yep, certainly. So we do have a couple of questions here. So Martin Sani, your question is you're from Nigeria and the new to GCU scholarship is £3,000 and you're asking why. For any questions on that particular discount, contact the admissions team. There is 2 levels of scholarship to the new to GCU, £3,000, or else there is a plus scholarship of an additional £1,000 for Nigerian and Indian students, but you need to meet certain criteria. So if you have any questions, please email admissions and they'll be able to answer that for you. Okay, our next question, Jess. So your understanding is that the Student Finance England doctoral loan only covers course fees. So how do PhD students pay for their living costs, and are there loans for this? Jess, I would suggest that you have a little look at Student Finance England doctoral loans, and just because there will be elements, I know there is quite a few changes coming up with the funding structure for students coming from England. Okay, and they have changed the lifetime eligibility. So I'll be honest with you, I'm not 100% familiar with this at the moment, but certainly you could email into funding@gcu.ac.uk. We will certainly have a little look into this, but also just check the Gov website, because they will tell you what elements can be used for living costs and what can be used for maintenance and tuition fees. So it should have information on the Gov website regarding that. Okay, but certainly we'll also have a look into it if you want to email in with any other questions. A lot of PhD students, I think, may well have part-time jobs. We also have a great careers department here at GCU that can help you if you're looking to move to Scotland and you're maybe looking for something to help with, the cost of living for a part-time job, for instance. They'll be able to get you in touch with maybe agencies or other jobs. Okay. So if you bear with me, so we have another applicant. You don't know how to go about the application. Is it the application to get a place on the course, or is it an application for the scholarship? Because I can put up the slides again that take you to the scholarship website. What we do ask is that you have and you hold an offer already before you apply for any other scholarships. For instance, any programme related or the postgraduate ambassador scholarship, you must have an offer before you apply to the actual scholarship. So I think it's NG. So if you let me know if it's an actual question relating to how to apply to GCU or whether it is for the scholarship side of things. Now, Blessing has asked that I share the last slide, and this was our alternative guide to postgraduate funding. So I will leave that on the screen for you if anybody wants to just take that information. Fiona, thanks very much for your question. Yes, you were a student at Caledonian here in 1999. You would still be considered for the 30% discount. What you need to do is you need to make sure when you apply that you state that you have studied here before. If you have changed your name or anything that's different to your new student ID that you're given when you're given an offer, please let the admissions team know, and we'll do a search to find your old student ID from the time when you were here at Cali before. Okay, Misbah, you're asking a question about you are trying to apply for a scholarship, but we're asking for unconditional offer stage. That's absolutely fine. Once you meet your conditions, okay, you will certainly be able to apply to the scholarships. The scholarships are opened quite late, and different scholarships have different application deadlines on it. Just check that you make your application before the deadline. Unfortunately, for the postgraduate ambassador scholarship, I presume this is the one that you're asking about, we are looking for unconditional offer holders to apply, and this is just due to the hundreds of applications that we get. Some people are only conditional and may choose to go elsewhere, or are not looking, or don't meet their conditions in time. We have on the scholarship website a really good scholarships tips page, so please do read over that. Okay, that will give you some really good concepts of what to think about when you are writing an application. Fiona, you were asking about the DPsych for Scottish students. Unfortunately, Scottish students don't get access to doctoral loans. So with any of our DPsychs, they are self-funding, unfortunately, unless you have been a student at Caledonian before, you would get the 30% discount. But our finance team do offer a payment plan of 8 instalments. So the cost of that year's studying could be divided into a monthly cost. And Sanya, when you're asking about when do applicants apply for scholarships and funding, once you have an offer, you can certainly apply to the GCU scholarships that you meet the criteria for. If you don't have an offer, you could still search, from back in home country or external sources to try and build up a pot that could go towards your tuition fees. Mohammed Noman, you're asking, so you will complete your bachelor's in English next June to 2027. So you would, once you've got an offer for the postgraduate course that you're looking to study, it would be at that point. All our scholarships are opened usually from round about April up until July time for September starts. And then any other scholarships are opened between the beginning of September, to the end of November for January starts. Blessing, you're asking about the refund policy for tuition deposits. That is something that us at Funding, we do not deal with any tuition refunds or anything. Unfortunately, that is to do with the finance team, but you can find information from admissions if you're looking to find out about deposits. And Sanya, you were asking about DPsych counselling students international, and do you have programme related funding? Here at GCU, we don't offer funding for the DPsychs, any of the DPsych courses, and unfortunately PhD, we don't have any funding sources. It would be anything external that you get for that. Jeffrey, thank you for your question. You're asking if you can apply for multiple scholarships. Yes, you can. However, you would, if it's multiple GCU scholarships, you would receive the highest scholarship, so you wouldn't be able to combine. You would get the one that's worth the most to you. But for external scholarships, you can apply for as many and as many as you want. Yes, and we would obviously, that could go towards paying your tuition fees, for instance. So I think that's come up to the end of all the questions. I hope I've been able to answer them all for you. But certainly, again, if you do have any questions on funding or scholarships, don't hesitate to email us.
Thank you so much, Andrea. So that brings us to the end of today's session. I'd like to thank you, Andrea, once again, just for your time and your expertise. There was lots of information there. And also extend a big thank you to all of you who are watching today's webinar for attending and for your great questions at the end there. That's really useful. Thank you. Just a reminder that this session will be available on the GCU YouTube page over the coming weeks if you want to revisit any of the content. You can also find a lot of information on the GCU website relating to the information that was in Andrea's presentation there. So I hope you find today's session useful and we look forward to hopefully welcoming many of you back to GCU to continue your postgraduate studies. Thank you again and have a great day, everyone.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you.